Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, Gilgit Baltistan area, major protests have erupted after the arrest of Shia Cleric Agha Baqir al-Hussaini under the blasphemy laws. Thousands of protesters gathered on the streets to protest against the arrest. Local leaders in Gilgit threatened that they want a merger with India if their leader is not released. People of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir are demanding merger with India. They say that they are left behind and there is no facility, infrastructure or development which is made available to them. Top sources within the Indian government claim that the time has come when Pakistan should accept the voices of dissent in POK. All right, let's just take you through some more developments which is coming in. Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and while Pakistan continues to raise this bogey of human rights and the entire propaganda with respect to India and Kashmir, protests in POK, Gilgit Baltistan have happened for a very long time. Especially the minority communities in this area within the Muslim community have been demanding that they suffer at the hands of the Pakistani army establishment. The protesters in this region seek release of the Shia cleric, Agha Baqir, and any kind of protest, demonstration, or any effort of freedom of expression, any exercise of freedom of expression is curbed upon. They have sought a merger with Indian leaders if their leaders are not freed. These are the kind of demands that many groups within Pakistan-occupied Kashmir have repeatedly made. Pakistan is a terror sponsor and the Pakistani army is responsible for a lot of human rights atrocities that have happened in this area. And Pakistan spends a huge amount in terror training. In fact, various terror training camps have been set up in POK to use it as a buffer zone to foster terror. Never helped Kashmiris are illegally occupied by them. This is the stand that the government of India has made. The government of India and the sources continue to insist that Pakistan has spread jihad. They can never bring in development. And as I said earlier, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, the illegally occupied region of Kashmir, has never been used. The land has been occupied, but it has never been given the kind of development it deserved. Instead, it has been used as a haven for terror activities of Pakistan. Development in Jammu and Kashmir under the Indian government has happened. That remains the top agenda of the government ever since the abrogation of Article 370. In fact, this is something that the government had also highlighted in the Supreme Court of India. And that's largely the story which is emerging after there were widespread protests which were reported from this part of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. I want to cut across to my colleague Abhishek and get more details on the story. Abhishek, tell us more about the Shia leader who has been arrested. What were the circumstances in which he was arrested and why were there protests in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir?
So apparently that Shia leader had said something that was sort of blasphemous, and on the charges of blasphemy he has been arrested. And this whole incident has not gone down well with the people who are living in that region, and they are alleging that the state government are using brute force to suppress their demand of basic facilities, to suppress their demands and the civil rights that they have been asking for many months now. We have seen in the recent months there has been increased instances of protest and unrest in the Gilgit Baltistan region. And many of those reasons have been the non-availability of basic amenities to the people, higher inflation, shortage of food supplies, and essential commodities. And these have taken so deep root that every now and then we see people getting frustrated and coming out on the road in support of their demands. For now, the Pakistani government has been denying any unrest, any problem in that region. So much so that Pakistan's new information broadcasting minister, Murtaza Solanki, he has tweeted some videos saying that everything is normal, peace and normalcy is there, tourists are having their good time. But we have seen so many protests happening. And on Sunday, there was a wheel jam and shutter down strike that was observed in Skardu. That was against Maulana Qazi Nisar's alleged remarks. So there are two factions now. One is obviously pro Maulana and the other one who are anti. Who are saying that Maulana's statements were blasphemous and he should be punished for that. But besides all this, amidst all these problems, there has been increased security presence. The Karakoram highway has also seen an increased presence of soldiers and security personnel. And situation in the area, though it is under control, but it remains very tense.
It remains very tense. Abhishek, not the first time that the minorities in Kashmir are, in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, are complaining about the excesses from the administration. In fact, any kind of dissent, any kind of protest in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir has traditionally been met with disproportionate force from the regime.
And that is one of the reasons also, Risha, why the protest has never been down. They are always in the look for an opportunity where they could, seek some questions and they could ask authorities why they are not being given the same treatment as other parts of the country or other Pakistanis, get. And this is why there was a palpable tension and a frustration among the people. And in the recent protests, there have been sloganeering of going back to India and merging with India as well. And this is a very, a new phenomena that has started happening in various parts of Gilgit Baltistan. That again remains in now people of Gilgit.
We'll connect with Abhishek once again. There's a problem with that line. There's a problem with that line. So there's a Shia leader who has been arrested in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. There were widespread protests that had happened in this area. And after those protests, there was this arrest that had come in. He was accused of making a quote-unquote blasphemous statement. The Shia leader maintains that he was only raising the issues pertaining to the community. Pakistan-occupied Kashmir has been used as a buffer region to foster terror activities, across South Asia, sponsored by Pakistan. And the region has not seen any kind of growth and development like it deserved. Not the first time that in Gilgit Baltistan we are witnessing these kind of protests, not just pro-India voices, but various leaders and communities living in this particular region have asserted that they want more autonomy and they cannot work at the behest of Pakistani army. Let's once again take you through these developments and details which are coming in. These are protests which have happened in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, in Gilgit Baltistan. In this area, even earlier in the last few decades, we have seen multiple protests happening. These protesters seek the release of the Shia cleric, Agha Baqir. Now, Agha Baqir is a known, voice in this region. He's a Shia leader. He has sought merger with India if the leader is not freed. There are his supporters saying we must merge with India. These are the kind of statements that got him into trouble in the first go. And if this is not cracked down on the freedom of speech and expression, than what really is. In fact, Pakistan is one of the countries that faults India for various issues, including the so-called human rights violation. But when it comes to its own backyard, there are a number of troubles. There are dozens of issues that they have to resolve, not just the voices which seem to be sympathetic to India, but also voices which are about community, minority assertion within the Islamic community. The Shia community, for example, in the country of Pakistan has mostly on multiple occasions raised the issue of human rights abuses.